Today we're finally getting a chance to drive the Genesis GV60. We've driven the Ioniq 5, the EV6, of which these all share a platform, and I've been really excited to get the keys to this. We'll walk you around this today, show you what it looks like inside and out, talk about what it's been like to live with all week, and we'll take it for a drive and give you guys some driving impressions. So first, some numbers. This has 235 miles of electric range. This is the performance model, has a little bit less range than the advanced model, which is about $9,000 less than this one. This is 69 grand as tested. It makes 429 horsepower from two 160 kilowatt electric motors, front and rear, so it's all-wheel drive. It can DC fast charge on a 350 kilowatt charger from 10 to 80% in 18 minutes. Very, very fast charging. This GV60 has a bunch of cool features, the first of which is why we're standing outside instead of starting the video from inside the car. This has a very unique looking key fob, but it also features a biometric scanner, a face scanner. It's just right here. You can log into your profile and unlock the car using your face. Of course, I haven't set that up, so I'm just going to unlock it with a key. Get these pop-out door handles. And then if you've set it up with your vehicle in the profile, you can start it with your fingerprint right there, which is pretty neat. We're just gonna use the stop-start button though, and then note the gear shifter here will flip over from a crystal ball into your gear selector. How cool is that? A very nice, luxurious, well-appointed cabin here. Physical controls for just about everything. We've got this cool-looking two-spoke steering wheel, two 12.3-inch displays. This is a touchscreen. You can also control it down here with a scroll wheel. I like that Genesis has finally differentiated their scroll wheel with their shifter. They're no longer the same size. You know this is the shifter because it has the little fingerprint indents. I'm no longer getting these two confused like I have in so many Genesis products the past year or two. I really, really like this interior. Visibility is nice. The controls are awesome. Everything feels very high quality. There's Alcantara just everywhere. We have acoustic noise canceling with this Bang & Olufsen sound system. This is a very quiet, well-appointed, luxurious space. This isn't the largest crossover. It's not quite as big as the GV70 and definitely not as big as the GV80 in here, but I think it kind of hits a sweet spot in terms of size. It just kind of works. I think this would be okay for a small family. You've got enough room in the back seats, plenty of cargo in the trunk area. Let's pop the tailgate and show you what storage looks like back here. The button is just underneath right there. You've got a small cargo cover, little net. Underneath here you've got all of your charge cables, owner manuals, etc. Decent amount of cargo space back here. I think you lose a little bit of height with this being kind of a sport back design. The only complaint I have is that you can't fold down the rear seats with any type of lever back in the trunk. You have to go to the back seats, pull a little handle on each side, and then you can fold those rear seats down. This has 21-inch wheels. The advanced trim has 20-inch wheels, weighs about 100 pounds less. That's probably part of the difference in range too. What the charge port looks like. Got a nice charge meter here. This will charge on a 240 volt garage charger in about a little over 7 hours. Look at this little Pikachu-like lightning bolt right there. That's a neat styling element. Neat looking little crossover. It's got some funky bug-like headlights and taillights, but it's kind of cute and muscular. I don't know, I like the proportions. These wheels are just wild. Genesis is doing some crazy wheel designs these days. Let's show you what the back seat looks like. Same door design carried on back here. You've got these two kind of racing stripes in the Alcantara. Nice window shade. Heated rear seats. Tiny little cup holder here. Not a large space to fit a larger water bottle, but you do have more cup holders in the center armrest. Pretty easy ingress. Completely flat floor. We've got a couple USB-C ports and then just a cavernous storage space underneath there. That goes back farther than I can even see. Actually, I think it even kind of passes through the front seat area. Nice. panoramic moonroof has a pretty heavy tint to it, even on a bright sunny day. We do get a tiny frunk in this GV60, much like we see in the EV6 and Ioniq 5. Not something I'm gonna expect most people to use on a regular basis. You could stash a couple things in there. All right, let's hop inside. We'll show you around the front seat just a little bit more, and then we'll take this for a drive. So, seats, very comfortable seats, lots of adjustability. You can even adjust the passenger seat. That's always kind of been a signature Genesis feature, and I actually kind of like it. It's nice to be able to adjust the passenger seat from the driver's seat sometimes, or rear seat passengers can make themselves a little bit more comfortable too. Key fob's kind of funky looking, exactly the same as what we saw in the G90 a few weeks ago. Feels kind of light, a little bit cheaper plastic, but it looks cool. I think that makes up for it. Nice spot here for wireless charging. We've got a tiny little center console, more storage bins down here. Again, a flat floor here up front as well. And then check out this glove box. It's just a drawer. How cool is that? The steering wheel is interesting. It feels really small on hand, and as a result, it's kind of sporty, but I've had a little bit of trouble finding a comfortable position for it this week. If I raise it up to see my gauge cluster, it feels like it's a little bit too high, and I can't comfortably rest my hands on 9 and 3. But when it's down, it's blocking just a little bit of the gauge cluster. So a little bit of a balance there with comfort and being able to see what's going on. It's been okay this week, but just a minor complaint. There's a little bit of a point of contention there. Otherwise, though, we have some really neat controls here to the left. Love this mirror control here. Look at that. That's copied over here with a faux speaker that's not actually real. Speaking of speakers, we have a Bang & Olufsen sound system in this Genesis GV60. That's standard even on the advanced trim, which is very nice. It sounds pretty good, about average for the class. Lots of seat controls. Change seat bolster, lumbar. This has massaging seats too. All the things that you'd expect from Genesis's luxury vehicles. Very responsive infotainment. We have wired CarPlay and Android Auto, no wireless option. Pretty much everything in this GV60 is a physical button. I think that gives it a slight advantage over the EV6 and Ioniq 5, and then it's just maybe a little bit easier to live with. I think Hyundai and Kia were experimenting with some more screen operations than what Genesis has decided to do here, and I actually really like living with this car on the day-to-day. It's just so easy to use. We have all of our seat controls right here, instant access. You don't even have to really look to see where they are. You can almost feel what's going on down here. We've got our drive mode buttons right here on the steering wheel. That's awesome. You have 3 options between Eco, Comfort, and Sport, and you can hold for a custom drive mode setting. And then there is this boost button. So we press this, of course we have to be in drive, we go from 429 horsepower to 483 horsepower for 10 seconds. And for those 10 seconds or less, I'm free. On that note, let's go for a drive. Here's what our reverse and 360 cameras look like. Very nice. Switch into drive, you get a forward-facing camera. We've got a nice big water droplet on that one, but otherwise they're pretty high res and very easy to see around you. You can hear there's a slight beeping noise in reverse, and then at lower speeds, below 25 miles per hour, a speaker plays kind of an electric motor whirring noise underneath the car to alert pedestrians that you're driving nearby. As you accelerate past 25, that fades away into the distance. This car also features a couple of fake electric motor sounds. So if you go into vehicle settings, active sound design, you can make those sounds soft, medium, or loud. And you have options between futuristic, a G engine, and E motor. You can also turn everything off and make this completely silent. I've been using E motor because that kind of mimics the sound of an electric motor. It's a more natural EV sound I found this week. Listen to what that sounds like here. So we also have these little paddles behind the wheel. Like in a lot of other electric vehicles, they control regenerative braking. You can go full one pedal drive, I pedal on. That's if you just hold the left paddle and tap it a few times. And then you have 3 levels of regen. I guess 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, and then there is I pedal drive, which is one pedal driving. It does take its time coming to a complete stop sometimes. And if you're at 91% of charge or higher, and you try to use one pedal drive, it will give you a little warning message telling you that the battery is fully charged and it can't give you full regenerative braking. Overall, I've got to say, this GV60 drives really well. The ride quality is excellent. There's very little noise in the cabin at speed. With the active sound cancellation and all the insulation in here, it's very quiet on the highway. Suspension is comfortable. We have adaptive dampers in this performance model. Brake pedal feels good. It can get a little bit grabby at lower speeds, but for the most part, you're probably going to be using one pedal driving too. It is properly quick. 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds with boost mode engaged. Let's see how it handles. Put us into sport mode. You can feel the suspension stiffen up just a little bit, but I'll say it's a very subtle difference. The adaptive suspension is mostly geared towards ride comfort. There's a scanner at the front of the car that reads potholes and will adjust the suspension accordingly. I don't think I'd be wanting for any more power in an EV like this. This is about as fast as you need. It's sometimes a little bit overkill, especially in boost mode. Get yourself in some trouble. We have adaptive cruise control, lane centering. Works pretty well. Get tripped up occasionally, but for the most part I found it to be a pretty useful system. These massive buttons on the steering wheel are very easy to read and use and operate. Takes some of the fatigue out of highway driving. This doesn't really have the best highway range. You can expect about 200 miles out of it. But it does charge so fast that might not be that big of an issue on road trips. You just have to visit chargers more frequently. Today it's pretty chilly out, about 47 degrees Fahrenheit, and at 93% it's estimating that we have 158 miles of driving range. Not a lot, but for daily around town errands, more than enough. Let's go into eco mode. Eco mode limits our power a little bit. You can see on this power meter, full throttle is about halfway. Comfort mode gives you full power, but it kind of ramps up slowly. A little bit of throttle blending there. And then sport mode gives you pretty much all the power all at once. It's very responsive. Gives you more acceleration higher up in the pedal. Then you can engage boost mode in any drive mode and get maximum power, 483 horsepower instantly. There is a little bit of a delay from when you push down the accelerator pedal to when it actually takes off, especially at stops. If you kind of mash the pedal down, let's say you need to make a tight gap in traffic, there's about half a second until the car will actually respond if you're not in sport mode. It's taken a little bit of getting used to this week. If you blend into the accelerator pedal slowly, it seems to be more responsive, a little bit better. So pretty much coming to a full stop there with regen, tapping the brake pedal at the very end. Let's go into sport mode. Let's try a quick launch. Boost ready. Nice. Let's listen to some of the other engine sounds. Kind of sounds like a V6. Yeah, not so sure about that one. Futuristic. It's very BMW-esque. Some Hans Zimmer vibes there. Okay. And this is what we've been on, E motor, which I think is the most convincing out of the three. Yeah, that's cool. We'll turn it down to its quietest setting though. Like many EVs, this does handle well. Low center of gravity helps. This is still pretty heavy, about 4,890 pounds curb weight, so just under 4,900 pounds. Lighter than some options like the Mustang Mach-E, but still it has a heft to it. There's a weight to the steering. You can feel the higher curb weight of this car when just driving it around. The trade-off is it's very solid, it's very confidence-inspiring, has a lot of traction. I think the focus here is on luxury and comfort and premium feel, and a little bit less on sportiness, even though this is the performance model that really only applies to its acceleration. Handling is okay. There's even a secret drift mode that you can engage. You put it in park, put it in sport mode, put the brake pedal on, hold both paddles, and it'll let you slide around a little bit. But honestly, it doesn't work very well. You just get a lot of inside tire spin, and you can completely turn off traction and stability control, but that just roasts whatever inside tire is that you're turning around. You can't really rip donuts in this thing. The EV6 was a bit better dynamically. I think it was a little bit more fun to drive, had more rear bias. That was a really nicely balanced EV, and you could actually slide it around a little bit. The focus here is, again, it's on luxury and comfort and not as much sporty driving. I love these blind spot turn signal cameras. Just what a brilliant idea that we've seen from Kia, Hyundai, and Genesis over the years. Turning radius isn't amazing. Should we do one more launch control? Probably. All right, boost mode. Brake boosting, a little bit of wheel spin from those front tires. That is the electric vehicle party trick. Throw someone in the passenger seat who's never been in an EV before, and every time you do a launch, it's sure to impress. All right, we're in sport mode. Traction control is off and stability control is limited. Yeah. Nice. That was pretty well balanced. Let's give you guys some final thoughts, and then we'll test out the Bang & Olufsen sound system, and we'll wrap up the video. So, I've got to say, overall, this has been a fantastic luxury EV to live with all week. I love this interior. I think this is just the highlight of this car. The outside looks okay. Some of the design features are a little bit controversial. I think for the most part in person, it looks a lot better than in photos, but it is a bit weird looking, which is pretty typical of EVs these days. The slightly compact size and dimensions of this car can be a positive or a negative for some people. I think there's enough room in here for most people's use case scenarios. And as a result, it's nice to be a little bit smaller of a vehicle on the road. It feels a little bit more nimble, easily placeable. I kind of get luxury hot hatch vibes from this, maybe just a little bit larger. The materials, the switchgear, the design, especially on the interior here, is just phenomenal. I think it really is nicely representative of the $69,000 price point. Do you need the performance package? Probably not. I would personally swing for the advanced model, save about $9,000. The power here is fun, but it's probably overkill for a vehicle like this. The best thing about this GV60 is just how comfortable it is and how luxurious it is and how nice it is to live with on a daily basis. I've had a few little rattles and shakes from the steering wheel area today, but otherwise this seems to be a pretty quiet, well bolted together vehicle. And we've had huge temperature fluctuations this week too here in Michigan, so that's usually a pretty ideal scenario for introducing weird, strange rattles and noises in car interiors. Genesis has done a really nice job here, kind of slotting this as a more premium option to the EV6 and Ioniq 5. I would say, as far as a driving experience, this is closer to the Ioniq 5 than the EV6. EV6 is a little bit sportier. And of course, you can also get an EV6 GT later this year that will have more performance. It'll be a little bit quicker than this GV60. But for what this is, I think it really hits a nice sweet spot, and Genesis has nailed it with making this a luxurious vehicle with some performance. It handles well. It's going to be fun to drive on most back roads. It's comfortable. It rides great, even on the 21-inch wheels. It would be nice to have a little bit more range, but the fact that you can DC fast charge this at such a high rate, if you have a charger available in your area that can handle it, a 350 kilowatt charger, that's a real positive. 18 minutes and you're back up to 80%, which is pretty awesome. All right, I think that sums up some thoughts. Let's go in and test out. I almost did it again. Did you see that? I almost hit the park button. Let's go in and test out the Bang & Olufsen sound system here. You have two options with this B&O, reference and surround. This is kind of on a mid-surround sound setting. Overall, I think it's a pretty nice sound system. Again, nothing extraordinary for the price point, not up to par with Volvo's or Acura sound systems, but I think it's good enough. All right, guys, there's the GV60. Glad to finally be able to share this with you. Really glad to be able to finally get behind the wheel and drive one. One thing I realized we didn't quite do much during the drive was do low-speed driving, so let's do a little bit of that here while we don't have any cars around us. So let me just show you what regen does. So coming down from speed, about 50 miles an hour, letting off the accelerator pedal. This is full regen doing its thing. It slows down pretty well until about 20 miles per hour, and then it kind of coasts a bit more. And it comes to a very smooth stop. But sometimes you have to dip into the brake pedal. One of the softer one-pedal drive systems out there. We're in comfort mode right now. Let's pretend we're at a stop sign, off the line. Foot down. If you just mash the accelerator pedal, there's about a half a second delay until the car goes. And that's even worse in eco mode. So eco mode, and then we go. Takes a minute. But if you blend onto the throttle, then it's better. Okay, just wanted to cover that before we wrap things up. All right, we'll pull off, walk you around this one more time, and that'll be it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. We've also posted some GV60 videos on the Winding Road magazine and Daily Motor YouTube channels. I think they had a different color, but we've got a night drive on there so you can see what this looks like in the dark, and just a couple other driving videos. So if you're interested, go check those out. Until then, though, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Lots of cool cars coming up for you later this month. Yeah, we've got some cool content planned for early 2023. So again, thanks for all the support. We just hit 500,000 subscribers on the channel, a milestone that I never thought would even be possible. But yeah, I started this channel in 2017. It's been really, really fun sharing all these cars with you guys, and I love doing this. I'm not going to stop anytime soon. I could do this until I'm 90 years old. As long as there are new cars coming out, we're going to keep driving them. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you later. Take care. That is cool.